He said that he was going mad. I mean, he kept using the words going mad, like of the relationships he's had with women, that Caroline and him were one of the more serious ones that he's had. We actually did talk pretty in depth about that, and I don't think that there's too much like public about that.
Today I interview citizen journalist Tiffany Fong, who over these last 6 months has had exclusive access and regular meetings to the now under house arrest Sam Bankman-Fried. As the FTX founder awaits trial for one of the largest financial crimes in human history, allegedly, Tiffany dishes the real dirt on Sam's relationship with Caroline, his experience for those 8 days in Bahamian prison, and before all that, Tiffany, why do you think Sam has been so open with you?
I was shocked by that as well. Like, a lot of people do ask me this, and I've asked Sam multiple times because I think it's a little bit odd too, since I'm not some professional, well-known journalist or anything. So I've asked him a few times, and Sam gives me a few different answers. I mean, the first phone call I had with him, I was like, why are you talking to me? And at the time, I didn't even have a big following. I think I had maybe like less than 10K on Twitter, and like I don't know, it wasn't that big. And Sam was like, well, it was sort of a gut instinct. And he also said, and he still says, that he likes that I'm independent. He likes that I don't work for a publication because he likes that I'm not beholden to an editor or, have to represent a publication. And he said that he thinks that that means I don't have to really stand by some sort of status quo or, say what my editor wants me to say. He said that I have like full freedom to kind of say whatever I want and just make my own decisions on what exactly I want to say. But he also said that he likes that I've been quite negative about other people in the space. Like, I've posted a lot of, can I curse?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Like, I've posted a lot of like, fuck you to Alex Mashinsky, like a lot of, I don't know, scathing things about the Mashinskys because he was the CEO of Celsius, in case anyone doesn't follow that. So Sam saw a lot of that back when he started following me in September last year. And he said that he liked that I was quite vocal against other people because he thought that I wasn't someone who just, I don't know, he said that he liked that I spoke my mind. So yeah, those are some of the reasons. But I mean, even in our initial phone calls, which was before I had ever met him in person, I didn't post the full entirety of the phone calls, but I asked him like my interview questions, but we also just kind of chatted about life, and we talked about like mental health and depression and Netflix shows and stuff like that. So I mean, I think that we built up some sort of friendly rapport prior to him being on house arrest. So he seemed quite welcoming to have me over.
So what's like one of the biggest takeaways you got from meeting with SBF multiple times that maybe an average person wouldn't realize?
I mean, okay, talking about Sam is obviously very controversial. Everyone wants me to just say, that guy, he's a fraudster. He's a supervillain. Like,
I want the truth.
Yes, I know that you want the truth. I will just say to anyone listening, I'm very aware that people just want to hear it, like that I hate the guy and he's evil. But I feel like just after spending a decent chunk of time with him, I'm like, personally, I just don't see him as so black and white. Obviously, a lot of money is gone. A lot of people's lives are ruined and hurt. I'm someone who's lost money as well in a bankruptcy. But I mean, I think that Sam's intentions from the start were actually good. I don't think that he like set out to just ruin people's lives just to go buy like super yachts and like set out to just enrich himself. Like, I really do, from all of our conversations, do think that he really did eventually intend to donate a lot of money to charity. A lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people think that was just a PR stunt, but he's shown me like some of his writings from back in like 2012 up to 2016, like far before he ever started Alameda or FTX. And he was talking about where he wants to donate money and how his dollar could best be spent to whatever charity. So, I mean, that's something that like, I do think his intentions were good from the start. So, I mean, I just don't see him as black and white as like some super villain. So, I mean, that's one of my takeaways from sort of getting to know him over time.
And what drives Sam? Because even if you want to donate all that money, you don't have to go so big so fast. Is it ego? Is it, I want to beat my enemy CZ?
See, like, obviously, when I ask him those questions, he's not going to give me the answer. It's my ego. He does give me the answer that, like, obviously, I wanted to donate more money to charity. And, like, obviously, if we went bigger, that would mean more money I'd be able to donate to charity. So that's his answer he'll give me. I do think that there's some ego involved and like a little hubris, and like I think that he did want to be the biggest player, and he did feel some competitiveness with CZ, and like yeah, we can see that in some of his catty sort of tweets to ZZ. Like one thing he told me he regretted was tweeting. I think he asked if CZ was even able to come to Washington. I don't remember the context of that tweet, but he sort of antagonized CZ, and I think that there was rivalry there, and I'm sure that a lot of it is ego, but I don't think he would give me that answer. He certainly has never been like, it was all my ego.
For sure. What's like a weird or intimate moment, like when you're spending time at his house, you're there for like 5 hours or more or something like that. Like, is any like interesting stories how he talks to his parents or how he plays video games or eats pizza bagels or
That is funny. I mean, he is always like snacking on random things. I mean, he loves sparkling water. He has one of those like Soda Stream things, so he's always drinking sparkling water.
fancy?
Yes, he's always eating his little Impossible burgers or his little vegan foods. I think that I privately told you this little story when I like went over, and I was a little bit tipsy one day because it was my birthday weekend, but I had planned to visit Sam like in the evening that day, but I had gone out to drinks with friends beforehand, and I was a little bit tipsy, and I yeah, Sam had just eaten a bunch of like Indian food, and he had leftovers that he'd just thrown away, and I was like, Sam, I'm really hungry. Do you have any food? And he was like, all I have is the leftovers that I just threw in the trash. If you want to eat it, you can. So I ate Sam's leftover Indian food out of his trash can once when I was a little bit tipsy. So that was a fun.
We've all been there. And in the audience, if you say you haven't, you have. You have.
You have. And we will be there again.
Exactly.
Austin and I are both going to Bitcoin Miami, so I'm sure I'll be eating some disgusting foods late at night.
We lived in a bull market where we had that sparkling water. Now we're in the bear market. And hey, we're open for anything.
Water. Only tap water, baby.
Now, Tiff, yes.
What? Sorry, what'd you say?
Well, I was just going to say haters, and please correct the haters. Haters will say, hey, Sam's just in love with you. He just wants to get with you. Would you put those rumors to rest?
Yeah, there are obviously a lot of rumors about that, largely sparked by the New York Post and the Daily Mail. I will say Sam's always been very respectful. He's never been like someone who's being creepy. He's been very respectful. But I mean, obviously everyone can come to their own conclusions about whatever they think is going on. Because obviously I kind of understand it. It is odd that he's, let me interview him quite a few times. And I'm not some like famous journalist or reporter. I'm no Michael Lewis. I will say that. I'm no Michael Lewis. So, I mean, I get it. So people can come to their own conclusions there, whatever. I've kind of just started feeding into the rumors and jokes. Because after the first visit and the New York Post article came out, I was like, nothing romantic is happening here. But people still gave me shit. So I'm like, you know what? You guys can say whatever you want.
Might as well. And Sam loves being in the press. I assume from when he was on top of the world, like in all those advertisements.
This is true. I mean, I think he likes the positive press. He was frustrated by a lot of the like polycule rumors and the rumors about there were a lot of rumors about his drug use, for example. And I will say that Sam is not a partier by any means. Like I think there are a lot of rumors that came out when people found out that he uses M-Sam patches, and like he has like an Adderall prescription as well. But I will say Sam is no partier. The M-Sam patches are for him trying to treat depression, which is something that Sam and I have spoken about. He does struggle with depression and has apparently for most of his life. And he also has really bad ADHD, which is why he says that, like, I don't know if anyone's seen interviews of Sam, but he's notoriously quite shaky and fidgety, and he's constantly playing with things. Even when I go over to his house, he's constantly like shuffling cards or, playing with random things on his desk. But he says that that's just because he has really bad ADHD. But he's not a partier. Like when I did go over that one time and I had eaten Indian food, I told him that I was out at bars earlier, and Sam was like he was just completely curious. It was like he was talking to like an alien species, and he was just like, what do you even do at bars? and I was like, I don't know, Sam, like just grab drinks with friends, maybe chat with some new people and make some new friends. And he was like, so you go and you drink alcohol and you just talk to random people? Like he seemed like horrified. So he's certainly not someone who is like over there having crazy parties. In fact, he told me that he hadn't had a sip of alcohol until he was already 21, and he only has maybe he says he has like half a cider a year. So he's not a drinker, he's not a partier. A lot of those rumors I think are totally false, you know, about the crazy partying happening over there.
But his vice was always Caroline. Did he ever mention Caroline?
That was a great segue, Austin.
Thank you. I'm proud of that one.
The pro. This guy's a pro. Yeah, we have talked about Caroline. It's tough because Sam doesn't go clearly on or off the record. But I know that some of those things are like sensitive to his trial. So I don't know what things I can really share about the Caroline stuff. Because yeah, he hasn't been clear about like, don't ever mention this. But yeah, he's talked about him and Caroline. I think I can vaguely say that they didn't necessarily end too well, apparently. I mean, he said that a lot of the rumors that were happening when it became public that Caroline and Sam were dating, a lot of people thought that they were conspiring together and to kind of defraud people and steal all this money. But he said it was more the opposite, that like because they didn't end on like the greatest of terms, but were still working together, that their communication was a little bit shoddy. And like if anything, he said that maybe contributed to some things that happened, that they had kind of poor communication. But he does deny that they were like scheming together while they were in a relationship. But yeah, I guess I can say those things. I don't know what things are like crossing the line, because obviously the Caroline stuff is a big part of the criminal charges and everything like that.
For sure. And let's say nothing to cross the line. I don't want to know anything legally, but in terms of his emotional connection, Caroline, did he ever talk about, man, there's this one time on the balcony in the Bahamas, I kissed her and I thought it was real, or man, we would always do this, you know, I don't want to get too, you know, this is how we did it, you know, whatever. Do you ever go into that?
Like if anything, I mean, one thing I guess about Sam is that he's kind of even said himself that he has sort of a limited emotional range and emotional capacity. So I don't see him as someone who would ever be like, I just fell head over heels and like I saw like it's fireworks. Like I feel like he's not really that way. Like if anything, he's said that like, I'm not sure I've ever really been in love. I'm not sure like what love really is even supposed to feel like and stuff like that. So yeah, like he has said that they were like, of the relationships he's had with women, that Caroline and him were one of the more serious ones that he's had. So like I think it was quite serious, but yeah, he's kind of been like, I don't know if I've ever like really been deeply in love with someone. So yeah, there's no like romantic balcony kiss that he's gone on about.
I think I can speak for the whole audience when I say, Sam, we're rooting for you guys. You guys are going to make it.
You guys might still make it. She might have turned on you and she might be cooperating with the government against you, but you guys could still make it.
But that's love, Sam.
That's
love. Hey, did he ever talk about his stint in Bahamian jail? Because I hear that was tough. He wanted to get out of there.
Mm-hmm. We actually did talk pretty in depth about that. And I don't think that there's too much like public about that. But yeah, he said that he was going mad. I mean, he kept using the words going mad in the Bahamas in prison for 8 days. And he said he was like, it wasn't the poor living conditions. Like he said that it was disgusting, but he was like, it didn't have anything to do with that. He was like, that's something I could get used to. So he didn't mind it being disgusting and it like the floors being moldy and everything like that. But he said that it was more just like, he said that he struggled with not being able to put his thoughts into words that other people could listen to, which is kind of understandable. I mean, we're all people who are like tweeting all the time and like talking on the phone to people all the time. But he said that he wasn't allowed any visitors other than his Bahamian lawyer a couple of times. So I don't think he was even able to see his parents during that period. So I think he was just going pretty crazy. Like, and he said that he what did he do? He said that he would spend like 18 hours a day playing Sudoku. Like someone gave him like one Sudoku book. So he was just going crazy playing Sudoku for most of the hours a day. He said he spent the rest of it trying to go comatose. So he would just be like kind of laying around trying to like zonk out and not be present. And what else did he say? He said he wrote some letters to a few people, but he hasn't named who those people are. What else? Yeah, he basically just said he was going mad. And he was given one jar of peanut butter because, as most of us know, Sam is vegan. And I don't think the prisons in Bahamas are particularly open to or understanding of veganism. So he said he like barely ate, and he got one jar of peanut butter and occasionally like a huge platter of fruit, which he would like share with his other prison guests if he had leftovers. Prison guests, prison inmates.
Exactly. Honestly, though, that doesn't sound that bad. For Sam, for somebody who's living as a king, you know, probably that is bad. But like, man, I was really bored. I couldn't communicate with criminals.
Well, like the thing about Sam is just he's got such a crazy busy mind. Like right after prison, he spent like multiple days just like writing out all of his thoughts because I think he just had so much pent up like energy, and he's obviously very ADHD. So I feel like for him, that is like the worst hell you can be in, like not being able to like type and be on the internet and stuff like that. Like for him, that is hell.
Tiffany, I want to have you. The trial for Sam Bankman-Fried, I think, is still in October later this year.
It's supposed to be in October. I think his lawyers have like expressed they might want to have a little pushback. So it could be later, but right now it's scheduled for October.
I want to have you back on when that trial starts, at least by then, to give us, you know, because I know you and Sam are so close, although he has new restrictions on him. But just like final thoughts about Sam or anything we didn't talk about that you want the community to know.
Oh God. It's tough for me. Like, if you have a question, it's hard for me to think of final thoughts. Do you have any more questions?
I mean, I have so many more questions. Do you what sentence do you think Sam should get? You've connected with him emotionally.
Okay.
You've seen this. You've had money stolen from you from Celsius, so you get both sides. Right. What should be his punishment?
This is probably like maybe controversial, but I've even talked about this with like the Mashinskis, who I personally hate a lot more than Sam. And to be honest, like I think that they're worse people than Sam. This is something that we can all debate. Obviously, I'm biased because I lost money to Celsius and I didn't lose money to FTX. But I mean, just the way that the Mashinskis handled it after they had already ruined people's lives. Chrissy Mashinsky was making unbankrupt yourself t-shirts. They're still just prancing around at conferences. Chrissy did a speech at NFT NYC as if nothing had happened. I mean, to be completely honest, I'm sort of like, at least Sam like was profusely apologizing to the point in which like he's getting for how much he's apologizing. It's sort of like a meme how much he's apologized, but like at least he kind of knows he fucked up, has his tail between his legs a little bit. I mean, a lot of people didn't love his media tour, but I hate the Mashinskis more personally, just the way they've dealt with it afterwards. But as a whole, oh God, I have a tripod on my bed, it's falling. You can cut this out. As a whole, I just am not someone who cares to see white collar criminals in prison for life, even the Mashinskis, to be honest. Like I want to see pedophiles and rapists and murderers in prison for life, but I'm personally not someone who like wants any white collar criminal in prison for their entire life. So maybe that's a controversial statement. I think a lot of people are like, let him rot in prison for the rest of his life. You know, I don't know what's fair, to be honest. Certainly a couple of years at least. Obviously, people would
couple of years
at least.
Okay.
Like, but I don't know. Like, I don't personally like take pleasure in seeing a white collar criminal in prison for life. So that's probably controversial. People are probably going to disagree with me. I'm not saying that I think he deserves a couple of years. I don't know what things he's going to be found guilty of and what things he won't be. But I don't know. What do you think is fair, Austin? Like you follow it at least a bit.
I know that the Fire Festival guy, you know, the conference that went bust, or the festival that went bust, Fire Festival, he went to jail for like 5 years, 10 years, something. And now he's back out and he has to repay all that fraud, all those investors, yes, for the rest of his life until that's paid back. Now with Sam, yeah, it's almost impossible, the amount of fraud he committed.
Yes, that's the thing about these criminals who allegedly stole money from people. I'm kind of like, take all their fucking money, give it back to creditors. Like, I don't think that they should have any money to their name and give it back to creditors. I mean, I think their lives are ruined enough that way. And even just the social repercussions of all this. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna ever, like, if Sam wanted to start a business, first of all, I don't think that he should ever be able to handle anyone's money ever again, obviously. But I think that his life is already kind of ruined. But just to me, as a creditor who lost money, personally, I'm kind of like, I don't get more money back by someone being in prison. I guess the fear is that, like, I hope they never defraud people again and defraud customers again. I guess that's the fear. But just personally, like, the people I want to see in prison for like extreme sentences are the people who are like actually violent criminals or like dangers, like physical threats. But that's probably a controversial statement. I'm probably gonna get shit for that. But no, like, I think that it's fair. I guess comparing it to other sentences, obviously, I think he should probably get more than like the Fire Festival guy. Like, you know, I don't know what like normal sentences are. It's just, I would just say that I just don't want to see anyone, even the Mashinskis, in prison for life. As much as I hate the Mashinskis, but like, life to me just seems like too much. What's fair? I don't really know enough about these cases and what normal sentences are, so it's hard for me to give a ballpark there.
I would love for all our lawyers in the audience, comment down below, give me your
Yeah,
thoughts.
feel free. Like,
If,
obviously, I think it should be fair and like reasonable and comparable to like similar sort of cases. Although I guess the most similar is people compare it to Bernie Madoff a lot, and he got life, obviously. So I'm just someone who's like, I don't believe in like life sentences for white collar crime personally, but I'm gonna get shit for that probably.
hey, we'll check the comments. We'll both be checking together. Tiffany, the links for all your stuff are down below. Thanks for coming on.
Leaving it off on the most controversial note.
That's right.
Yeah, I use Twitter a lot. I made a YouTube channel last year, so you can follow me there, Tiffany Fong, and on Twitter I'm Tiffany Fong with 1 underscore.